Everyone thought returning the stolen horse would fix everything, but they were horribly wrong. The moment the horse stepped back into the Apache camp, something felt off. It wasn't just tired, it was terrified. Warriors froze. Elders exchanged uneasy glances. Because this wasn't just a missing horse anymore. It was a warning. Within moments, whispers turned into panic. A secret no one wanted to face was about to come to light. And what happened next was far worse than anyone could have imagined. The sun hung low over the red desert hills, casting long shadows across the Apache camp. The air was quiet, too quiet. Even the wind seemed to move more slowly, as if it sensed something coming. Then someone saw it. A figure, far off in the distance. A rider. At first, no one reacted. Travelers passed from time to time. But this one was different. The way he moved slow, unsteady caught attention. And then they saw what followed behind him. A horse. A murmur spread through the camp like a ripple in still water. It's him. The stolen one. People began stepping out of their lodges. Warriors rose to their feet. Children were pulled back by their mothers. 4 days, that horse had been missing. It wasn't just any animal, it belonged to the chief's son. Strong, loyal, and deeply valued. Its disappearance had left the entire camp uneasy. Now it was back. But something didn't feel right. As the rider drew closer, the silence grew heavier. No one cheered. No one moved to greet him. They just watched. The horse's head hung low. Its once powerful stride had weakened into slow, uncertain steps. Its body trembled with every movement. And its eyes, wide, wild, afraid. The rider finally reached the edge of the camp and pulled the reins to a stop. He didn't dismount right away. His hands gripped the rope tightly, knuckles pale. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, he slid off the horse. I found him, he said, his voice dry and strained. But his words didn't bring relief. Because the horse didn't react the way it should have. It didn't recognize home. Instead, it shifted nervously, ears pinned back, muscles tense like it was still in danger. A warrior stepped forward carefully, reaching for the reins. "Easy," he whispered. But the moment his hand got close, the horse jerked violently, letting out a sharp, panicked cry. It tried to pull away, hooves scraping against the ground. The warrior stumbled back, startled. Something was very wrong. The chief emerged from the center of the camp, his presence commanding immediate silence. His eyes locked onto the horse, studying every detail. Then they moved to the saddle. He stepped closer. Slowly, carefully. The rider shifted uneasily. "I didn't," he started, but stopped himself. The chief reached out and turned the saddle slightly. And that's when he saw it. A mark, carved deep into the leather. Not random. Not accidental. A symbol. The chief's expression hardened instantly. Around him, a few of the older warriors leaned in and froze. They recognized it, even if they wished they didn't. One of the elders stepped forward, his face pale, his voice barely more than a whisper. "That mark." He hesitated, as if saying it out loud would make it real again. Then finally, "It should not be here." A chill spread through the camp. The rider swallowed hard, glancing from face to face. "I didn't put that there," he said quickly. "I swear." The chief looked at him, eyes sharp. "Then tell me," he said, his voice low and steady, "where did you find this horse?" The rider opened his mouth to answer. But no sound came out, because in that moment, even he wasn't sure if he had found the horse, or if the horse had found him. Night settled over the camp, but no one felt at ease. The fires were lit as always, yet their warmth did little to calm the growing tension. People spoke in quiet voices. Some did not speak at all. Eyes kept drifting back to the horse, now tied near the center, still restless, still uneasy. The symbol on the saddle had changed everything. A group of elders sat close to the main fire. Their faces were lined with age and memory, and tonight those memories had returned. One of them leaned forward, staring into the flames. "I have seen that mark before," he said quietly. A younger warrior beside him frowned. Where? The elder did not answer right away. His gaze remained fixed on the fire as if searching for the past within it. Many winters ago, he finally said, before some of you were even born. Another elder nodded slowly. Those men did not ride like others. They did not speak. They did not warn. They watched first. The younger warrior shifted uneasily. You speak of raiders? Yes, the elder replied, but not the kind you are thinking of. A silence followed. They did not come to steal food or horses, the second elder added. They came to study people, to learn their habits, to wait. The fire crackled between them. And when they returned, the first elder said, his voice lower now, they did not leave anything behind. The younger warrior looked toward the darkness beyond the firelight. I thought they were gone. So did we, the elder answered. Not far from them, the rider who had brought the horse sat alone. His shoulders were tense, his hands clasped together as if trying to hold something inside. A young boy approached him slowly. He hesitated before sitting down nearby. You look afraid, the boy said. The rider gave a faint, tired smile. I am. The boy glanced toward the horse. What happened out there? The rider took a long breath. For a moment, it seemed like he would not answer. Then he spoke, his voice quiet. I was not looking for the horse, he said. I was heading back from the hills. The boy listened closely. I saw it standing alone near a dry riverbed, the rider continued. No tracks around it. No signs of a struggle. Just standing there. That is strange, the boy said. The rider nodded. Yes. It did not run when I got close. It just watched me. He paused, remembering. And then it started walking toward me. The boy's eyes widened slightly. By itself. Yes, the rider said. Slowly. Like it already knew me. A breeze passed through the camp, stirring the fire. I thought I was lucky, the rider went on. I thought I had found what everyone was searching for. He looked down at his hands. But when I reached for the reins, he added, I felt something was wrong. The boy leaned in. What do you mean? The rider lifted his gaze. It was not calm, he said. Not truly. It was waiting. A distant sound echoed faintly from beyond the hills. It was soft, almost lost in the wind, but enough to make both of them turn their heads. The boy frowned. What was that? The rider did not answer. Across the camp, the horse suddenly shifted again, pulling against its rope. Its ears were alert, its body stiff. It was listening, watching, as if it sensed something no one else could see. The elders noticed too. One of them stood slowly, his eyes scanning the darkness. They are near, he said under his breath. The younger warrior beside him tightened his grip on his weapon. You are certain? The elder did not look at him. I have felt this before, he said. The fire flickered again, shadows stretching and twisting across the ground. All around the camp, people grew still, waiting. And somewhere beyond the reach of the firelight, something waited back. The night grew deeper, and the camp remained awake. No one trusted the silence. Warriors stood at the edges, watching the darkness beyond the firelight. Every sound carried weight. Every movement drew attention. Even the smallest rustle made heads turn. At the center of the camp, the returned horse would not settle. It shifted constantly, pulling against the rope, its breath quick and uneven. Its eyes stayed fixed on something far beyond what the others could see. Then, without warning, it let out a sharp cry. The sound cut through the night. Warriors rushed forward, hands reaching for weapons, bodies tense. The horse reared slightly, its hooves striking the ground before it jerked back again. It was not trying to escape blindly. It was reacting to something. A guard near the edge of the camp raised his hand suddenly. Wait, he whispered. Others followed his gaze. At first, there was nothing. Only darkness. Then slowly, shapes began to form. Figures. Standing just beyond the reach of the firelight. Still. Silent. Watching. A line of them. The warriors stepped forward, forming a barrier between the camp and the unknown figures. "Show yourselves," one of them called out. No answer came. The figures did not move. The air felt heavy, as if the night itself was holding its breath. Then one of the figures stepped forward. Slowly, carefully, into the faint glow of the fire. A murmur spread through the camp. Someone recognized him. A man who had gone missing weeks ago. His name was spoken in disbelief. He looked thinner, weaker, his skin pale under the dim light. But it was his eyes that made people step back. They were empty, not lifeless, but distant, as if something inside him had been taken. The chief moved closer, his expression guarded. "You have returned," he said. The man did not respond at first. He simply stood there, swaying slightly as if struggling to remain upright. Then his lips moved. "They are coming," he said softly. The words sent a chill through the camp. "Who is coming?" the chief asked. The man lifted his arm slowly. Gasps followed. Marked into his skin was the same symbol carved into the saddle. Fresh, dark, unmistakable. "They took us," the man continued, his voice unsteady. "Not all at once. One by one." A warrior stepped forward. "Where?" The man shook his head weakly. "It does not matter. They move. They watch. They learn." The horse let out another restless sound behind them. "They let me go," the man said. The chief narrowed his eyes. "Why?" The man's gaze drifted past him, toward the darkness. "So I would return," he answered. A quiet fear spread among the people. "To lead them," he added. The meaning settled heavily in the air. Before anyone could speak again, the man staggered, nearly falling. Two warriors moved to catch him, lowering him carefully to the ground. From behind him, the figures in the darkness began to shift. More shapes appeared. Not one or two. Many. Slowly moving. Closing the distance. The warriors raised their weapons. The chief stepped forward, his voice firm. "Hold your ground." The firelight flickered, casting long shadows that stretched toward the approaching figures. The horse pulled hard against its rope again, panic rising. And from the darkness, the shadows began to advance. The first movement came without a sound. Then everything broke at once. The figures rushed forward out of the darkness, their footsteps pounding against the earth. Warriors met them head-on, raising weapons, forming a line between the attackers and the camp. The clash was sudden and close. Steel struck against wood. Bodies collided. The quiet night shattered into shouts and cries. But something felt wrong. The attackers did not fight like ordinary raiders. They did not shout. They did not hesitate. They moved with a strange focus, pressing forward without fear, as if pain meant nothing to them. A warrior struck one down, yet another stepped into his place without pause. At the center of the camp, people scrambled for safety. Mothers pulled children close. Elders were guided away from the front. The fires, once steady, were knocked aside in the chaos, sending sparks into the dry ground. Flames began to spread. The returned horse panicked completely. It reared and tore free from the rope, running through the camp in a blind rush. It knocked over a burning torch as it passed, scattering embers that caught quickly on nearby structures. "Watch the fire!" someone shouted. But there was no time to control it. The chief stood at the front, his voice cutting through the chaos as he gave orders. Warriors tightened their line, pushing back against the advancing figures. "Hold them here," he called. "Do not let them reach the center." The marked man lay on the ground nearby, struggling to breathe. One of the elders knelt beside him. "They used us," the man whispered, his voice fading in and out. "Made us walk. Made us return." The elder leaned closer. "Why?" The man's eyes shifted toward the fight. "So they could follow." The truth struck hard. This was never just an attack. It had been planned from the beginning. The horse. The missing people. The mark. All of it had been a path leading straight to the camp. At the edge of the fight, a group of warriors pushed forward together, forcing several attackers back into the darkness. For a moment, it seemed like they might break through. But the figures did not fall back far. They paused, then began to withdraw. Slowly at first. Then all at once, as quickly as they had appeared, they faded into the night, retreating beyond the reach of the firelight. The warriors did not chase them. No one gave the order. No one needed to. The camp was left in silence once again, broken only by the crackling of flames and the heavy breathing of those who remained standing. Smoke drifted into the air. Small fires burned where they had spread, casting an uneasy glow over the scene. The chief lowered his weapon, his eyes fixed on the darkness where the attackers had vanished. "They did not come to finish this," he said quietly. One of the warriors stepped closer. "Then why leave?" The chief did not answer right away. Around them, the damage was clear. Burned ground. Fallen bodies. Fear still hanging in the air. Finally, he spoke. They saw what they needed to see. The meaning settled over the camp. This had not been the end. It had been a test. And somewhere beyond the hills, in the same darkness that had hidden them before, the ones who planned it were still watching. Morning came slowly. The first light revealed what the darkness had hidden. Smoke still drifted through the air, thin and gray against the rising sun. Parts of the camp were blackened where the fire had taken hold. The ground was marked with signs of struggle, footprints pressed deep into the earth. People moved quietly. There were no loud voices now. Only soft words. Careful steps. Warriors helped the injured. Elders sat beside those who had lost someone. Children stayed close to their families, their eyes still searching for answers they could not fully understand. Near the edge of the camp, the horse stood still. It no longer fought the rope. Its breathing had slowed. Its eyes, once wide with fear, now seemed distant, as if whatever had driven it had passed. The chief walked through the camp, taking in every detail. He paused at the burned remains of a shelter, then moved on without a word. His face showed no panic, no anger, only a quiet wait. He stopped when he reached the elders. "They came and left," one of them said softly. "Yes," the chief replied. Another elder looked toward the hills. "They will return." The chief did not deny it. "They learned from this," he said. "They watched how we moved, how we fought." A younger warrior stepped forward, his voice tight with frustration. "Then we should go after them now, before they strike again." The chief turned to him. "And follow them into ground we do not know?" he asked. The warrior hesitated. "They want us to react," the chief continued. "To move without thinking." The elder beside him nodded slowly. "That is how they win." Silence followed. The truth was clear to all of them. This was not a single battle. It was something larger. Something patient. The rider who had brought the horse stood nearby, his head lowered. When the chief approached, he looked up, guilt heavy in his eyes. "I thought I was doing the right thing," he said. The chief studied him for a moment. "You brought back more than a horse," he said. The rider swallowed hard. "I led them here." The chief shook his head slightly. "They would have found us," he said. "One way or another." The rider did not look convinced, but he said nothing more. Beyond the camp, the land stretched out in silence. The same hills. The same open ground. But it no longer felt the same. Somewhere out there, unseen and patient, the watchers remained. The chief looked toward the horizon, his voice low but steady. This was not the end. No one argued, because deep down they all felt it. What had come in the night was only the beginning. And the next time, the outcome might not be the same. And so, as the sun rose over the broken camp, one truth became impossible to ignore. This was never just about a stolen horse. It was a warning, a test, and maybe even the beginning of something far more dangerous. Because somewhere out there, beyond those silent hills, they're still watching, still waiting, and the next time they come, they may not leave anyone behind. Pause. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss more powerful stories like this. And tell me in the comments, what would you do if you knew something was watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? Share this story with someone who loves intense, emotional tales. And I'll see you in the next one.